What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Sacred Cards. Today I'm coming at you with an update to my Rikka Sunavalon deck profile for February 2024. I love the Rikka archetype as a whole, and it has some great plant support to make some very cool combos and can make some insane endboards. It's a 40 card list, and I'm happy with the consistency in the build right now, so I'm very excited to share this with you. It's been tough finding the perfect ratio since the ban list, but this deck is very much alive and well. Also, be sure to give the video a like if you do, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Well, with all that said, I'll go through my deck list and try and explain the cards as best I can. Let's get right on into it. Starting things off with the Rikka monsters, I have 3 copies of Rikka Princess. You can special summon this card from your hand, but while it's face up on the field, it does lock you into plants. Also, when your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a Rikka monster, quick effect, you shuffle this card from your hand or graveyard into the deck and tribute a plant monster to negate that effect. One of the best starters I play is 2 copies of Rikka Petal. This card lets you take a Rikka monster from the deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. This effect does also lock you into plants, so just something to keep in mind. But during the opponent's end phase, you can special summon this card from the graveyard if you control no monsters or only plants. Next up is 2 copies of Mudan, the Rikka Fairy. If this card is in your hand, you contribute a plant monster to special summon itself, then you get to add a Rikka spell or trap from your deck to your hand. This is great for accessing your copies of Glamour, Con, or Rikka Sheet. For the extenders, starting with 1 copy of Primula, the Rikka Fairy. Primula can special summon itself from the hand in defense position if a monster you control is tributed. Also, she can target up to 2 plant monsters and increase their levels by 2. Following that up, we have 1 copy of Snowdrop, the Rikka Fairy. This card can tribute a plant monster to special summon herself and another plant monster from the hand. She also has the ability to target any plant monster on the field, including herself, to make all the levels of the monsters you control equal to the monster you selected, which is perfect for making Xyz plays. Now that's it for the Rikka monsters. Now for the Sun Avalon archetype. We have 3 copies of Sunseed Genius Loci. This normal monster is your main 1-card combo starter. The idea is that this little seed can bloom into some very incredible boards and make some very powerful plant monsters that create disruptions for your opponent. Next, I run 1 copy of Sunseed Twin. Twin, if this card is normal or special summon while you control a Sun Avalon Link monster, you can special summon your copy of Loci from the graveyard. It also has the effect that you can banish this card and 1 Link monster you control. If you have 2 or more plant Link monsters with the same name in the graveyard, you can special summon 1 of them. Now, the new addition to the deck that makes the combo possible is 1 copy of Aromage Laurel. You can special summon this card from your hand if your life points are higher than your opponent's. Its main effect is that if it's sent to the graveyard, you gain 500 life points, which is great for triggering your copy of Jasmine in the extra deck. Now for consistency, I play 3 copies of Lone Fire Blossom. Pretty straightforward. This card lets you tribute any plant monster, including itself, to special summon any plant monster from the deck. It's standard for any plant deck, in my opinion. Next up is a Therian package, starting with 2 copies of Therian Lilyboria. This card lets you target a Therian monster or plant monster in your graveyard to special summon this card, then equip the targeted monster. Its second effect lets you send 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard to add a Therian spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Also, if a Therian monster is equipped with this card, it gains 700 attack and can activate the second effect as if it were listed as if it were a copy of Lilyboria. The main target for Lily is one copy of Therian King Regulus. This guy lets you target a Therian monster or machine in the graveyard, special summon this card, and equip the monster you selected. Its second effect is when your opponent activates a card or effect. Quick effects send a Therian monster from your hand or field to the graveyard, negate that effect. Also, like Lilyboria, a Therian monster equipped with this card gains 700 attack and can activate this card's second effect as if it were a copy of King Regulus. Next, for some interruptions, 3 copies of Ash Blossom. One of the best all-around hand traps and great for negating card advantage by your opponent. And the last monster I play in the main deck is 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Another really good hand trap that can shut down a lot of decks, and just another all-around good card to have access to. Well, that is it for the monster lineup. Now on to the spells. Starting off the spell card lineup, I play 3 copies of Rikka Glamour. This is your Rikka search card. When this card is activated, you have the option to tribute a plant monster. Add a Rikka monster from your deck to your hand, but if you tributed a plant monster, you can add another. If you tributed a monster, you can add another plant monster with the same level as the card you added. Good for adding Rikka Princess and Primula. Next, one of my favorite cards in the deck by far is 2 copies of Rikka Concon. This field spell has the effect that if you control a Rikka monster, you can set 1 Rikka spell trap directly from your deck. It also has the ability that once per turn, if you would tribute a plant monster to activate a Rikka card or effect, you can tribute a monster your opponent controls instead. It's really nice when your opponent can pay cost for your card's effects. We have another field spell in 1 copy of Therian Discoliseum. This lets you add a Therian monster from your deck to your hand. It also has the effect that once per turn, if your monster would be destroyed by a battle, you can send a Therian card from your deck to the graveyard instead. Also once per turn, when a monster is destroyed by a battle, you can target a Therian monster in your graveyard, recycle it back to your hand. Next up, I play 2 copies of Sunvine Sowing. This card lets you special summon a Sunseed monster from your deck. If you do, take 1,000 damage. If you don't have a Sunavalon Link monster, you can only summon Loci, but that's just fine. Plus, if your plant Link monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Moving on, one of the best ways to get to your seed, 3 copies of Unexpected Die. Very simple. If you control no monsters, special summon a level 4 or lower monster from the deck. Very good for consistency and recovery. Next, for some more interruptions, I have 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet. This quick play spell lets you send any number of cards from your hand to the graveyard to negate the effects and have the attack of the same number of monsters your opponent controls. Your opponent cannot activate cards in response with the same type monster, spell, or trap as the cards you sent to the graveyard. Just a great card all around. Next, I play 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Another great staple, if your opponent is activating a monster effect during your main phase, you can either draw 2 cards, take control of one of their monsters, or look at their hand and shuffle 1 card back into the deck. That's it for the spells. Now for the traps, 1 copy of Ricochet. Another great disruption, especially when paired with your copies of Concon. Targeting monster your opponent controls, you have the option to tribute a plant monster. Your opponent can't activate that monster's effects this turn, but if you tributed a plant monster, you can take control of it until the end phase, and if you do, it also becomes a plant monster until the end phase. And the last card in the main deck is 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Just another hand trap, great for negating monster effects, and if it's set, you can also negate spell traps in the same column. That is it for the main deck. Now moving on to the extra deck. Starting things off with our Link monsters, 1 copy of Sunavalon Dryas. If you link summon this card to the extra monster zone using your copy of Lokai's material, you can add a Sunvine spell or trap from your deck to your hand. This card can't be targeted for attacks, also once per turn. If you would take battle or effect damage, you gain that much life points, and if you do, special summon a Sunvine monster from the extra deck. Speaking of Sunvine monsters, we have one copy of Sunvine Healer. Healer has the effect that if a Sun Avalon Link monster would leave the field by card effect, destroy this card. Also, if this card is special summoned, target a Sun Avalon Link monster on the field and gain life points equal to its Link rating times 300. And if your plant Link monster inflicts battle damage, you gain 600 life points. Following up Healer, we have one copy of Sunvine Thrasher. Thrasher has the same effect as Healer, that if a Sun Avalon Link monster leaves the field by card effect, destroy this card. But if this card is special summoned, target a Sun Avalon Link monster on the field. This card gains attack equal to its Link rating times 800. Also, if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon that monster to a zone your Link monster points to, but negate its effects. Next, an essential part of your main combo is 2 copies of Aromaseraphy Jasmine. There are times where you can resolve a 3rd Jasmine, but this card is kind of expensive right now, and I really don't feel like investing in another copy if I don't have to. Nonetheless, Jasmine has the effect that if your life points are higher than your opponent, you can this card and any monster it points to can't be destroyed by battle. You can tribute a monster it points to and special summon a plant monster from your deck in defense position. Also, once per turn, if you gain life points, you can add any plant monster from your deck to your hand, which is very important for the combo. Next is a single copy of Sylvan Dance Peony. When it is link summoned, choose a number from 1 to 3 and excavate that many cards from your deck. Then special summon up to 2 plant monsters and send the rest to the graveyard. You can also target a plant monster with a level in your graveyard, and the levels of the monsters this card points to become that level till the end of this turn. Just another way to go into your Xyz plays. Moving on with the Link 2s, we now play 2 copies of Sun Avalon Melias. Melias is great because when it is link summoned, you can special summon Sunseed Genius Lokai from the graveyard. This card also can't be targeted for attacks, and once per turn you can target a Sunvine Link monster this card points to. It can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of Sun Avalon Link monsters you control. Next, Link 4s, I've chosen to play 1 copy of Sun Avalon Dryatrenchier. It has, you don't always go into this card, but it is a nice option to have in my opinion. It has the ability that when Link summoned, you can add a Sun Avalon spell trap from your deck to your hand. It can't be destroyed by card effects or targeted for an attacks. Plus, once per turn, you contribute a Link monster it points to destroy any number of cards on the field up to its Link rating. And the last of the Link monsters is 1 copy of Bengalancer, the Resurgent. This is a great boss monster for the deck. It has the ability during the main phase, quick effect, target an effect monster your opponent controls, take damage equal to its attack, then return it to the hand. If this card is in your graveyard, banish 2 or more Link monsters that equal 4. Special summon this card, but you do have to banish it next time it leaves the field. Great card, absolutely love Bengalancer. Next up for the Xyz monsters, I play 2 copies of Rikka Queen Strenna. I love this card so much. You can detach material from this card, target a plant or Rikka monster in the graveyard, and add it to your hand. It also has the amazing effect that if it is tributed with Xyz material, special summon a rank 5 or higher plant Xyz monster from the extra deck and attach this card to it as material. This is also great for summoning the next 3 cards, starting with 1 copy of Teardrop, the Rikka Queen. Teardrop can detach a material to target a monster on the field, tribute it. This is a quick effect if this card has plant as material. Also, each time a monster is tributed, she gains 200 attack for each until the end phase. She can actually get pretty big in 1 turn. 1 copy of Sacred Tree Beast. This card has a few great effects. During your turn, when you activate a card or effect, quick effect, target one of the same type in your graveyard, monster, spell, or trap, and attach it to this card as material. This gives the card ammo for its other effect. During your opponent's turn, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, detach one material of the same type, monster, spell, or trap, and if you do, negate the activation and destroy it. It'll always have a monster attached, so you can also attach spells or traps as well. And finally, the last card in the extra deck, I've chosen to play one copy of Aurea, the Sylvan High Arbiter. Its first effect lets you send a plant from your hand or field to excavate cards from the top of your deck equal to its level and put them back in any order you like. But the main effect for me is that you can detach a material, excavate 1 to 3 cards from the deck, and send any plants to the graveyard, which then you can return that many cards on the field up to the hand, a minimum 1, so even if you don't excavate any plants, you can still return at least 1 card. It doesn't target either, which is also huge. Well, that is it for the deck profile. I really hope you all enjoyed it. If there's anything you like or don't like, feel free to leave me a comment telling me what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like the video if you did, subscribe for more content. Thank you all for your support, and always enjoy the Sacred Cards. See you all in the next one.